Hi, so I'm Victoria Beale. This is our very first podcast networking event at New London Media Studios here in London Bridge. Yay! We have an amazing studio audience as well, so very lucky today. So I'm absolutely delighted to welcome our very first guest, our guest of honour actually, this wonderful gentleman. Lord Rami Ranger has made all the way over from Westminster today from the House of Lords. Lord Rami, how are you today?
Very well, Victoria. Thank you very much to you and to Nigel and all the audience for such a warm welcome on a wintry day.
Listen, we need to bring some joy back to the UKs, and that's what we're going to do. So, Lord Rami, for those of you, just a quick summary really of your wonderful kind of career to date, please. It'd be great.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, life is very simple when you know how. It is very difficult to learn everything from your own experience. So this is why we go to college, we go to school, we go to lectures, we go to places to learn from other people's experience to benefit ourselves. So I'm here to share with you my life story, and I want to demonstrate to you that you don't need a rich father, elite education, family wealth, or the old schoolboy network to become successful in this wonderful country, Great Britain. In this country, diversity is accepted, respected, and protected through law. You cannot discriminate against me, against my race, religion, culture, whatever. There are laws to protect me, and as a result, an ordinary immigrant like me can come to this country, realize his dreams and ambition, and become an asset for my adopted country. So British sense of tolerance and fair play has given every immigrant a chance to make a life. But unfortunately, some people waste that chance and they damage themselves and the host country as well. So therefore, we only have one life, so we have to make sure that we use those days we have been blessed by very carefully and become an asset for the family, for the community and the country. And that's the way I've been done. And those of you who know my life, that I'm a posthumous child. I was born 2 months after the assassination of my father because he was against the partition of India and he was killed. And we became refugee in the country of our birth, but we were blessed with a remarkable mother. She was only 35 years old when she became widowed with 8 children. She arrived on a refugee train to a refugee camp where I started my life, but she worked, luckily she was educated, she worked as a teacher in a primary school and brought us up through tremendous difficulty. I won't tell you how hard she worked from morning till evening, but she instilled the right values, and the values were you will starve but you will study. No matter what happens, you have to study, and she was very strict, but this is what I want to say, how important it is for women to be empowered. Women empowerment is a necessity, not a choice. If a father dies prematurely like my father did, he will leave behind a woman unable to deal with this uncaring world, a mother unable to look after his children. I shudder to think what would have been my future if it wasn't for my mother sacrificing everything she had for morning to live. Anyway, each one of us, we realize that we have been put through a tremendous hardship due to the breakup of India, where million people were killed, 15 million became refugees because of the religious hatred which was fermented. Anyway, so I came to this country in 1971. My 5 brothers joined the Indian Army as commissioned officer, and my mother became the proudest Indian mother. And her statue is now next to my father's in Amritsar, where the Golden Temple is. Whenever you go, let me know and I'll make sure that you are looked after. Anyway, so I came to this country to study law. When I was growing up in India, I thought Britain the streets are paved with gold, money grows on trees when I come, all my trouble will be all over. My brother warned me not to come, it's very tough. And I said, you're just jealous, you don't want me to have a good time. He said, if you want to come, come, but I'm not recommending. I used to have a motorbike, which I sold, bought the airline ticket, arrived here. When I heard the fee, and I heard the other saw my brother, he was working as a civil servant, then he was a driving instructor to make ends meet, to pay for his mortgage. I was shocked. I mean, I've been in this country nearly 55 years now, so you can imagine how young I was, only 23 years old. And then I said, oh my God, I made a mistake. Let me go back. So I had my mother there, my brother was in the army, good lifestyle and everything. So I said, now I need to make some money to buy my motorbike, at least. So wherever I went, United Kingdom was not as friendly, ethnic friendly in 1971. We had no track record of success. British people didn't know how to take us. You know, we were from a very poor developing country, and it was a hard struggle. So wherever I went, they asked for experience. And I said, how can I have experience when nobody wanted to give me one? But in the end, I worked as a car cleaner, and I was very happy cleaning cars. My boss gave me compliment. He said, ever since you came, my cars look beautiful. And I said, thank you. Because, you know, whatever you do it with pride. Yes? You take pride in whatever you do. And then my luck changed. When I was coming home one day, I saw Kentucky Fried Chicken opening soon, cook required. Yes. So I walked in, I said, I'm looking for a job, no experience needed, we want to cook. So 35p an hour. So I started my work, and I worked very hard. They had no idea my hidden agenda was to make money and go back. Whenever there was overtime, I said, I'll do it. I'll do it. I never gave lip service to my boss. Yes, yes. They liked my attitude. So they promoted me to assistant manager. Then they said, we have a very difficult shop. And we want a manager who can really deal with the locals there. And can you guess which shop was that? Brixton. In those days. Yes, very, very difficult place. So I said, okay, I will go to Brixton and I will learn the language, local language. What happened, brother? All right, you want some nice I said, I'll be like them. Yes. So I picked up their language. So the minute they came in, well, brother, be what you want. He said, I was, yes. Okay, so I saw they became very friendly. And my shop became number one because I was the first one to talk to them. I knew they weren't, I didn't want to offend them in case they hit me. So I was always polite to them. What kind of piece would you like? What kind of this you like? Do you like this? I gave them super service, and my business became number one in the company, and I was promoted to district manager in charge of 10 shops. Even though I had no idea about music or art or anything, but I knew a lot about chicken. So I became the PhD of chicken. So then I had 10 stores. Again, I was number one district manager, you know, quality control, hygiene, everything, money banked on time. So all these things happened. Then unfortunately, they started selling their branches to franchisees. And I find myself out of job. So I became manager of curries in city. So again, same attitude, customer is king. My mother had told me, customers like God, they come to give you something. It's all about value system. Believe you me, I don't have anything. You know, when I was growing up, I didn't even have shoes. I was a refugee guy. You know, my mother would bring up cast-off clothes. I want to tell you a story that it doesn't matter where you come from, what matters where you want to go. Yes? But attitude is very, very important. Loyalty is very important. Loyalty to this country, which gave me everything, is very important. I'm very loyal to the king and the country and everything. Because if you're not loyal, you will never progress. Nobody will promote you if you're a disloyal. Yeah? If I was a disloyal staff, only a fool will promote me. Okay, look, you're making a mess here. Come on, do it a bit higher level. So loyalty, commitment, hard work. So anyway, cut the story short, I was working electrical retailer. That's where I saw African people will come buy videos, TV, camera recorder, microwave, washing machine, all the electrical goods. They'll buy them and send them back to Africa unaccompanied. And it was very easy. It was service industry. You only wanted to sell service. So I said, okay, I can do that. And I started my company with just £2 in pocket, 40-pound typewriter. I had a better cortina. I hired a, Shore Guard, you must have heard Shore Guard, self-storage places. That's where I hired £125 a month rent. And I would go to Tottenham Court Road, Edgware Road electrical shop, pick up TVs, videos, bring them to my office, pack them, ship them. And I said, my respect is always self-respect. I will tell you the 5 principles which you all need. I said, my respect travels on the cargo. I want to make sure it goes A to Z safely, nothing. My reputation grew, and people was telling their cousins, their relatives, and everything, word of mouth. And business just grew. I got Queen's Award in 1999 for my business then to £10 million turnover. Yes. Then all these people, many of them, my customer, also had supermarket in Africa. Sierra Leone, Gambia, Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. All these people were coming, and they were also buying supermarket products for their supermarket. British supermarket are very, very sought after. Top end of the market, they love British food. Cadbury chocolate are the best in UK than anywhere else. Mars, Nestle, Persil hand wash, Dove soap, all these British supermarket, Coleman, Mustard and all, they will buy for their shop. My job was to pick up from 7, 8 distributors, bring them, consolidate, put them in a container and ship them back to Africa. And this guy was struggling to find product, source product on time. And I said, if I help them, I help myself. Let me source product for them. Miracle happened because when I started to supply them product, I eliminated 7, 8 profit centers. Immediately they were saving £2,000 a container because I was only charging the freight money. I was not interested in making either freight. My business snowballed. I had a queue of people with suitcases of money. You make profit while buying. If your buying is right, your selling is right. And I was very conscientious. My aim was, I only succeed when my customers succeed. I'm all right, Jack approach will never take you any far. So customers were very happy. Mostly Africa, women do business. They will come to me and I'll sit down with them, understand the business. I never overstock them, overcharge them, or short data. I say, they're my soldiers. If they don't succeed, they won't come back. And the bottom line is, in 20 years, my business turnover went to £200 million.
Hey.
Yes. I won 5 consecutive Queen's Award for Enterprise in International Trade. No other company in Britain has this accolade. The Prime Minister, David Cameron, came personally. He said, how did you do it? I said, look, it's very simple. My mother told me customers are like God. They come to give you something, be nice to them. And I've been very nice to my customers. If they lose money, I pay. Money I can always earn back, but if I lose customer, they will go, they'll never come back, and they will take 3, 4 more with them. Old-fashioned, simple business. I'm not, the maximum, I lived in Harrow, that's all. I didn't go to Harrow School, but I lived in Harrow. No Oxford degree, no Cambridge, nothing, but simple decency, the old-fashioned values. And then, today business is in 130 countries. Yes, we export staggering amount of British product. Then I also developed my own product, my own labels, because the maximum cost is on marketing. If you have a Chanel perfume, it might be £10, but £90 they spend on marketing. Yes. So I said, look, I'm taking product to Africa. They're not giving me salesmen. They're not giving me television, advertising, distributor. I went back to them. I said, you make my product under my brand, but I'll give you manufacturing cost. I will not give you advertising, sales, distribution. There's no return, nothing, no good. Anyway, they said you have to pay X amount in advance, minimum quantity, packaging up front, price of it. I said, fine, I'll do that. Now, business is all about merger, acquisition, or strategic alliance. If you want to grow your company, you have to merge with some GlaxoSmithKline Beecham, yeah? Or you can acquire something. Wrigley was acquired by Mars, yes? So you become bigger. Or the third, I was only at £2 to start with a company. I could not acquire any company, nor anybody want to merge with me. So I was left with the final option to build strategic alliances. So all my customers who were buying from supermarket, I said to these guys, I said, look, I can give you same McVitie biscuit or same Fox's biscuit, 30, 40% cheaper if we buy our own brand. And he said, but nobody will buy it. And I said, it's very simple. Brand is a trust. People trust brand because they know it's good product. When they walk into supermarket, they pick up the brand, they trust. They don't have the time to work out. I said, we have the product, we give them sample. We will put the product in customer's mouth. And I gave them a story of a mother. Mother was trying to feed a child, and a child will close the mouth. She'll force feed the child. He will try the product or whatever, food, then say, that's all right. Next spoon, the mouth was open. I said, this is how you will open customer. Treat them like child. Yeah, put the product in their mouth. And yes. And believe you me, the business snowballed. When people could not tell the difference, it was same product. Because, people acquire taste. If they're used to Guinness, they're used to Guinness. You can give them cheap beer, they won't like it. They like particular whiskey. So I knew that people have acquired taste over many years. They're not going to like to change. But what I did was something unique. Even supermarkets have their own brands. They don't go for the top end of the product. I went for the top because I was exporting. Yeah, my audience was higher end of the product. They say a good doctor knows which heart should go into which body. If you don't know, you have a healthy heart, healthy body, you mismatch them. Similarly, I had to make sure my product is not rejected. So I went to them, I said, I want the top cut, and I will give you my name. In supermarket, they have a brand called Basic, Value. They patronize their customer. I'm not going to patronize them. I say that you can only afford this basic product. I gave them 9 Royalty, English Breeze, Pure Heaven, Golden Country, beautiful name. If you ever go you put my name in Google, you'll see everything. I've been very active in this country in social, women empowerment, promoting, soldiers in combat stress, a lot of charity I do because I owe a great deal. I have 2 institutions in my name, London South Bank University, my name, Institute for Entrepreneurs, which I donated money. I want, because every youth, I work with Princess Trust. I do a lot of coaching with Princess. Don't think you need a father, rich father, or elite education. You need 5 values. These are 5 values. You're born with them. Number 1, you have to have self-respect. Do not let anybody insult you because you were late, you were not honest, you lied, anything you do bad will reflect back on you, and you will not nobody will take you seriously. So self-respect you must maintain by making sure you give respect to people, senior, junior, suppliers and everything. Commitment is very important. No matter how clever you are, if you're not committed to your cause, you're not going to go far. So give commitment. Yes, you must have heard the story of hare and tortoise. Remember the story of hare and tortoise? The hare went and slept under the tree while tortoise kept walking. Yeah, in childhood we used to it. And so self-respect, commitment, ethics is very important. If you don't have ethics, then you will never build a world-class company. My customers are suffering because I'm shortchanging them. So ethically, very, very important that you pay suppliers on time, you do not overcharge your customer, you train your staff, You empower your staff, because without staff you are nothing. The most important ingredient in your business is your staff. They are the investor. I employ 150 people. If I could do it alone, why would I have 3-4 million pound wage bill? But I can't do it alone. So ethics is very important. Empathy for others is very important. You have to empathize with people. I'm all right, Jack. You can, doesn't going to work. So empathize, appreciate. As women come to me from Africa, I sit down, understand their business, how big is it? Sometimes they say, give me 200 boxes. I say, no, you're going to have 20. They're no collector's item. They'll expire. Your money will be blocked. So I empathize with them. I don't say, give me quickly 200 boxes. I make profit and go. They are your extension. And finally, you have to have a vision. Without vision, you're a headless chicken, unable to find your destination. You set your goal. I want to, like Mount Everest, the people have. Then they start practicing. Then they have, one camp, second camp, third. Similarly, you have to join bodies and organizations which represent your chosen field, so that you know what is going on in your area. Yes? So therefore, today you have come here. I appreciate it that you come here to get a little bit more experience. Yes, people go to university. They pay money to learn. You're never too old to learn. Yeah? Even for anything, whatever you'll do, you can do better. That's it. I give example that anybody can sell McDonald's. But somebody who will sell McDonald's with a little bit of personal service, good morning, sir, how are you? What would you like? Can I also offer you? Because my business shop, KFC, was the highest gross profit. Because I will say, would you like some coleslaw? Would you like some baked bean? Can I give you a Pepsi? And Pepsi, coleslaw, baked bean, or Fanta, we made 200% profit. Whereas chicken, we made about 15-20% profit. So the extra add-on will bring in more profit to the company. Yeah, so this is a little common sense that we have to use. So vision is very important, that then you have to work for it. Yes, God will only help you if you help yourself. My mother, because we were very poor, mother used to say, son, efforts are in your hand, rewards are in the hand of God. If you have put the effort, God will never disappoint you. Here I am in front of you, from the lowest level, refugee camp, to the highest level, House of Lords, where the good and the great, the Chief of Staff, Chief of Navy, bishops, sitting next to me, and I have to pinch myself so many times in a day. Is that true? Are you really there? And I salute this country, where it doesn't matter where you come from, what matters where you want to go.
Oh, honestly, put your hands together for Lord Rami Ranger. That was amazing, very inspirational. Now, are you staying with us for a little while? Are you going to stay
Well, if
back
anybody has a question, I'm happy to take a few questions. If you have personal questions, I'll be agony aunt for a few minutes.
Well, we got time for one or two. So, does anyone have a question for Lord Rami?
Who's got the guts? You see, what is the Royal Marine? Who dares win?
Here, we have a hand up there. Who's that? Oh, Tracy. Yes, go for it, darling.
Hello, Tracy.
Hi. So everybody has challenges in business. How do you overcome any challenges that you have in your business, to actually get out?
Tracy, it's a very good question, and it is everybody faces this question. Challenges are part of life. If everything was easy, everybody will be business people. Yes? First thing first, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Yes? You have to do something extra, more than the guy next door. If somebody, for example, we came to this country in 1970s, British used to work 9 to 5, Sunday close. We open 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, till 8 o'clock. I did shop as well. So I had to work harder than the guy next door. And look where the Asians are today. Mm. There is no substitute of work. There is a substitute of milk, sugar, clothes, cotton, but work hard you have to, Tracy. You just have to see, what can I do more for my customer that they will remember? Like they used to remember me, I used to speak in their language.
Excellent, thank
Funny
you.
Guy.
And Tracy does work hard, bless her.
Right.
She's definitely doing
Anyone
that.
more? Last
anyone
question.
Else? Go on.
Okay.
So you mentioned 5 personal skills you need to have to succeed. What would be the top 5 business skills?
The 5 ethical things I gave you, 5 ethical, yeah? The 5 business skills are very simple. First, you have to know your ropes. If you want to be a doctor, you have to study 6 years to be a doctor. There's no shortcut. If you want to be a business, you have to work for somebody. Like I worked for 20 years with other company to test my skill. If you throw me in a deep end, I will drown. So the first golden rule is that you have to learn your skill working for somebody, surrounded by more experienced people who can share their knowledge and wisdom and give you, if you make mistake, at least you're not going to suffer. But if you start early, take a mortgage or loan and start, and business goes bust, you will lose everything. So slow and steady wins the race. There are no quick fixes. Yes? So you got to work, and when you're working for somebody, you consider, I'm working for myself. I'm not going to test my mettle. What is my ability? That's why I was number 1 in curries and number 1 in KFC. Because, there's a proverb, if you are bad in London, you're also bad in Liverpool. Just by changing cities, you don't become successful.
That's true.
Make sense?
Wisdom, pure wisdom. Okay, well we have to crack on now. We've got another 20 people after you to interview. Would you believe it? But thank you so much for being here today. We love you, Sally. You're a very big inspiration.
I'm very, very honored that I'm able to share my life journey with people. It might someday, we have mental reservoir. It goes in there. One day, I give my children repeatedly, because you have to tap somebody 6 times. They get fed up, Dad, fed up. I said, no, you don't need it. One day when you do, and then they come back, Dad told me this, Dad told me this. That time they're very angry. Who the hell are you? But that's part of life.
Amazing.
Yes. Thank you,
Rami,
thank
you
you
so much. Thank you.
Thank you.